This is a treadmill motor from a Vision Fitness Simple T9200. It seemed to be operating fine, but after about 15 minutes a bunch of sparks shot out of the end of the motor and then it just stopped working. But then it would work again after a certain amount of time. I just tried it the next day and it worked fine again. And then sparks came out of it again and it stopped. So I did a little research and the brushes look okay. They don't seem to be excessively short. Ones that I looked up, and I don't know if they were the exact ones that would be for this treadmill, but all of the ones that I've seen, they look about the same size, so I'm going to figure that they're okay. I don't know. I'm not an expert by any means. So I dismantled it and decided to clean. I saw a video on cleaning this up and shining it up, so I got some emery paper. I use it for shining up the ends of copper pipe before I solder. So I shined that up. That was all black, so I'm figuring that was all clogged with graphite from the brushes. And then I got a toothbrush and cleaned that all out, brushed all the dirt out of the wires here and down at the bottom over here, and basically just cleaned out as much dirt as I could inside here. And wasn't a lot of dirt, but I brushed everything out. I don't see anything that actually looks wrong with it. If I didn't know that it had an issue, I wouldn't think it would. There's no burnt areas. There's no burnt wires. I don't see anything really wrong with it at all. There's just rub marks here, which just look like normal wear, but it doesn't look like it's excessive in any way. This stuff doesn't, after I shined it up, it doesn't really look that worn. I cleaned the end of this off here too. I think there's a sensor right here. I don't know if it's a speed sensor maybe, that rubs against this. This is a 2.5 horsepower JM01-101. I believe it's a Johnson motor. From what I've seen, I think there's some Live Strong treadmills that use this motor. There's several motors that I found online for about anywhere from 180 to 200 and something, almost up to $500, with a similar number, JM01 and then -0 and a different number. I don't know if they're the same or not. I'm thinking I could get for $180 to $200, maybe get a different motor, and that would fix the treadmill. I got the treadmill for free, so it's a $1,500 treadmill. From what I can see, it's from around 2015 maybe, and it was listed as a commercial level treadmill, so it may be worth putting in $200 for a motor, but I thought I'd try cleaning it out first and see if that makes any difference. If not, maybe I can try new brushes and see if that makes any difference. They're not too expensive, probably $10 or less. I didn't intend to videotape this, so I don't have a video of me taking it apart. I can videotape putting it back together. I put some markings on the housings to show where it will go when I took it apart. I have no idea if I'm going to run into any issues putting it back together. It's not very complicated. This basically just slides inside here with the magnets. The cap goes on, and then you put the 2 long screws in that go straight through to the other side. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be too hard. I'll put it back in the treadmill tomorrow and see if it works. It's strange though, because I did try the treadmill previously, and when I got the sparks, I was on it for a good 15 minutes. I was walking for a few minutes, jogging for a few minutes, going back and forth like that, just testing it out, trying the incline, which worked fine, and then all of a sudden it sparked and shut off. There's no thermal sensor on here according to videos that I watched. It would have a separate wire coming out. This just has the red and black wire, and then the green for the ground. So that's all I know about this. I'm sure a lot of these motors are similar. So I'll start putting this together. It was in the treadmill like this. This was on this side. The bearings seem fine. They seem smooth. Before I put this together, I'm going to shoot some air in there with the air compressor. I don't know. I brushed the dirt out of this, the top parts of the wiring with the toothbrush. I don't know if there's more that's deeper in there. I don't know if that matters. But since I have it apart, I might as well get it as clean as possible. So I'm going to take that outside and blow the air on there with the compressor. Alright, I cleaned that with the air. I didn't see any dust come out, but I went down deep in there with the nozzle and hopefully I got out anything that I couldn't get with the brush. But obviously there was quite a bit in there on the surface, so I'm hoping that a buildup of the graphite was what was causing the problem, and maybe it was just getting too hot on the surface and shooting out sparks, because it just shot out like sparklers. So maybe it would ignite the dust that was there and just shoot out until it was burnt, and then it would just stop running. I don't know what would make it stop running. I don't know how any of that would work, but I'm feeling optimistic about this. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to put this down inside here. This goes down, and it's going to work it down. There we go. You got to watch your fingers. I don't think it's impossible to get them out, but it was squeezing my fingers earlier when I was taking it out. Okay, so that looks like it's in there almost. Let's see. Line up my lines here. Okay, there's one there, and one there. Okay, that went in. So I put these marks on here so I get it in the same position. Apparently that matters, but I'm only going by what I've seen on YouTube, on people's YouTube videos. 3 marks on here, and I numbered them just in case to make things easier. So here's 3, 1, 2, so 2, 3, 1. And here's this little, that looks like a brush also. Probably graphite. I'm not sure how that works though. Doesn't seem to be any wire connected to this, so I don't exactly know what this does. But squeeze that to fit this shaft through there. It only went in so far. It's probably, there we go. The magnets are holding it. I'm going to tip this up and see if that helps. There we go. All right. Line that up and that up. Okay. One. Where's the one there? Okay. There. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then these are lined up. Okay, so now these long screws go through. Now when I was taking this apart, I could feel the magnet pulling the screw, so I'm sure it's not going to go straight through. And there's nothing really in the middle to go through. It's just a matter of lining it up and to come out of the hole here. So I may have to, I can feel it moving. It's just moving back and forth. It's not going straight through. And I can see it, it's at an angle. There we go. Okay. All right, it's in. Here's the bolt. Now try to get the bolt on there, the nut on there, without pushing the screw back through. I can do this with the vice grips. There. Get that on the end. Turn it by hand. There it goes. Okay. So I'm just going to hand tighten it so that it's still a little bit loose. And then once I get the other one in, there's only 2. I'll line up all these lines. Because they move, even though they're the shaft, the screw will prevent it from rotating a lot. It's still going to rotate within it. See if I can feel this one through. I'm going to try to, even though I can't see it, I think I'm going to try going straight down with it. Oh, that may have gone in. Nope. It just wants to get it just gets grabbed by the magnet. And it won't go straight down in there. There we go. Wow. So there's no way to really explain how to do that. You just have to keep poking. Try to hold it as straight as possible. I pulled it out a few times and it's crooked because of the magnet. And then I pulled it out, held it tight with the pliers, went in slowly with it, and I could feel it pulling, but I kept it as straight as possible. And I can feel it down here, and I'm poking around, and I just kept poking and feeling around until it came out. So let's do the same thing with the vice grip here. Put that on there. There it goes. Okay. Back on the flat part. Now all my marks are moved again, so I'm gonna. So you have to move them in conjunction. Like they don't move so far, but the rod will prevent it from spinning all the way around. So you have to move everything, move both pieces at the same time, and then get them close. And then just adjust it. Okay. I'm gonna hold that. Tighten that as much as I can. My hand. My finger's just barely touching the bolt there. Nut. Okay. Okay, so that looks good. Tighten the other one up. These marks are all good. Okay. Okay, now. Let's snug it up the rest of the way. I'll do this top one since I can sit this flat. Everything still looks good. All right. Okay, it's tightening and I don't have to hold the bolt, the nut. Now these were pretty tight. I had to put some pretty good torque on it to take it off. But I'm not going to, if I put it tight, I'm not going to excessively tighten it because I don't want to break the shaft or anything. So I think that's, I mean that is pretty tight. There's probably a foot-pounds to do for torque, but okay, that's it. Put the brushes back in. I don't know if there's a direction for the brushes. They're rounded in the middle. They are a little rough. Maybe I'll sand them, or I don't know if that makes a difference or not. Well, this one's smooth. They're both the same size. Maybe I'll sand this and smooth that out so that it has better contact. Maybe that was the issue. Okay, so this is the one from the right. I marked them. I don't know that it makes a difference, but I marked them. So I'm going to leave that one alone. I'll put this one in. I marked a 1 here, and that's that one. So this one goes over on this side. It just slides in. There doesn't seem to be any kind of shape. I know on a KitchenAid mixer, and there's a shape that goes into a groove, and if you put it in wrong, it's not going to work because it's just not in all the way, so it's not completing the circuit. So put that in there. One of these was tighter than the other. I think this one was the tight one. Pushing that down in. There it goes straight down in. All right. So push that in with the spring. And then just put the cap on. This is just a large screwdriver. You could probably use a coin. Don't have a large screwdriver. I have a large screwdriver. Okay, so that seems to be a little bit stripped. So I just did it so that it's snug. I'm just going to sand this up, smooth that out. I got the emery cloth and sanded this part here of the brush, and it didn't take very much. I just went back and forth 5 or 6 times, and it was very quick. So I went around, and some of the edges were a little bit rough. I just sanded them very little, and a little bit on the edges, on the sides, and put that one in. I took this one back out again. This one wasn't real rough, but it was pitted a little bit, so I smoothed this out too. So there's a few tiny little holes, but the other one definitely was rough. It was rough and bumpy. The whole thing was bumpy. So put this back in. I sanded the edges a little bit because this one was the tight one, and it's still a little tight, but and that's it. So I'll put this back in the treadmill. It doesn't seem like it should be hard to put it back down in there. And then just attach the wires. They have regular slide-in plugs, and then the ground is just a loop, and a bolt goes on, a nut goes on that. So hopefully this will fix the problem, and I will have a free working treadmill that is a commercial level treadmill. It may not be worth $1,500 right now, but to buy one of this level, I'm sure would be up there, if not even more.
Update, I did have the same issue with the treadmill. It's still sparked. I called Vision Fitness and talked to one of their techs there, and they said that it does sound like it would be a brushes issue. So I purchased a set of brushes from them and some wax. They have powdered wax for the belt to lubricate the deck. So I got that and the brushes, and once I put the brushes in, it seemed to work fine. I don't have a real long lot of time testing it, but we haven't had an issue. I did run on it, walk on it. You know, we've got a good hour to 2 hours on it without an issue. So it was the brushes. At least that one brush, I swapped them around in the holes, and it seemed to make a difference. So I kept the brushes just for a spare. I marked them so I know which one was the good one. And that's it. So that solved the problem. I don't think cleaning the motor was a waste of time, because there was a lot of buildup in there. So altogether, the whole thing I think was worth it, and we got a free treadmill for, I think the brushes were $7 a piece, and the wax I think was like $15, something like that.